Have you ever paid for something, and 2 years later, you're still paying for it, but you barely even remember it? Like, the excitement was huge, everyone was smiling, photos were taken, you felt on top of the world. And now, you're staring at your banking app thinking, why are we still paying for this? Look, if you're engaged right now, or recently married, and you took out a loan for your wedding, this is going to feel personal. Because for a lot of couples, the wedding lasts one day. The payments last 5 years. Let's break down a completely normal situation. Couple spends $35,000 on a wedding. Nice venue, great food, professional photographer, decor, DJ, dress, invitations, family helps out, but not enough. So they borrow $15,000 at 9% interest. That's about $300 per month for 5 years. That means they'll pay back over $18,000 total, over $3,000 in interest. Interest on a party. Um, think about that for a second. The wedding lasts 6 hours, the loan lasts 60 months. And here's the thing, nobody feels the stress on the wedding day. You feel it later, when rent increases, when inflation hits, when the car breaks down, when you're trying to save for a house. That $300 per month? That's $3,600 per year. That's $18,000 over 5 years that could have gone into an emergency fund investments, a house deposit retirement. Instead, it's financing memories. And this is where people get uncomfortable. Money pressure doesn't show up as financial math. It shows up as tension. You're not arguing about flowers. You're arguing about why are we still tight on money? And slowly resentment builds. One person thinks, we shouldn't have spent that much. The other thinks, stop bringing it up. Look, financial stress changes behavior. It makes people more reactive, less patient, more defensive. And studies have shown that financial conflict is one of the strongest predictors of divorce, not lack of love, money strain. Research from Emory University found that couples who spent more on weddings were more likely to experience divorce compared to those who spent less. Not because weddings are bad, but because starting with financial strain is risky. Now here's the part that honestly frustrates me. The second you say the word wedding, prices jump. Same photographer, same food, same flowers. Higher price. Why? Because vendors know this is the most emotional event of your life. And when emotions are high, price sensitivity drops. Nobody wants to look cheap. Nobody wants to disappoint family. Nobody wants their wedding to feel small. So people stretch, they justify, they borrow. And here's the trap. You tell yourself, it's just one day. Yes, exactly. It is just one day. That's why borrowing for it doesn't make sense. Now, let's zoom out. Let's say instead of borrowing $15,000, you invested $15,000 at 8% annual return. Over 20 years, that turns into over $70,000. $70,000. So the real cost of that wedding loan isn't $15,000. It's $70,000. That's the future house upgrade. That's financial freedom earlier. That's options. And look, most people don't calculate opportunity cost because it's invisible. You don't see the money you could have had. You only see the party you did have. Now let's talk about something real. Family pressure. Parents want a big event. Extended relatives need invitations. There's social comparison, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. Everyone's highlight reel makes your normal plan feel inadequate. So budgets expand, guest lists grow, expectations inflate, and suddenly, you're spending money to impress people who won't remember the menu 2 weeks later. Look, I'm not saying don't celebrate. Celebrate. But don't perform wealth you don't have. Because pretending to be financially strong for one night can weaken you for years. So what should you actually do? Here's a simple framework. First, cash rule. If you cannot pay for it without debt, scale it down. Not eliminate it. Scale it down. Second, cap the guest list. If someone doesn't actively participate in your life, they don't need a $150 dinner on your dime. Third, separate money from control. If someone contributes financially but wants decision power, that's not a gift, that's leverage. Fourth, think long term. Your 3 year from now self will care more about savings than centerpieces. Your 10-year from now self will care more about investments than table settings. Build for that version of you. Look, I'm not anti-wedding, I'm anti-regret. There is nothing romantic about financial stress. There is nothing empowering about starting your marriage with a liability. The real flex is stability. The real flex is being able to say, we celebrated within our means. Because love feels different when it's not under pressure. And if this video helped you see weddings differently, if it made you rethink your budget, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, because we're going to keep breaking down the financial decisions that look normal, but quietly damage your future. Let's build wealth with intention. I'll see you in the next one.